Laura's with us in Nashville to start off this hour. Hey, Laura, how are you?
I'm blessed, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up in your world?
Well, Dave, I just had a question. I've recently purchased your book, Total Money Makeover, and but I'm having some issues with being overdrawn through my bank and checks returned over the last week and a half or so. And my question is basically, what's the best way to get out of this situation so that I can start working on my Total Money Makeover?
Okay. Do you know how to reconcile your checkbook or your checking account using your bank's website?
No, sir.
Okay. It's called balancing your checkbook is the thing. And what you're doing is you're not just checking your balance every day. You actually know that I've written or I have used the debit card or whatever, these many charges that have not yet hit the bank. And if they were to hit the bank today, I would be in overdraft. And that keeps you from being in overdraft. And basically, obviously, you don't want to commit to more money than is in the account. And you've got to get the accounting part of that working. So what I do is contact your bank. Do you have online banking with them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Contact them, and they'll walk you through how to do that. Because what you're doing is you're writing checks or, your debit card or whatever, authorizing some kind of withdrawal beyond what your balance is, right?
Right.
You know that. And it's very, very expensive.
Yes, sir, it is.
What are they charging you per hit?
$33.
Woo! Wow. Yeah, that'll add up fast. I mean, 10 of those is like some money, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
How many hits have you had?
It's probably over the last week, 6 or 7. I was expecting, which that's my fault, is expecting some money through my job that didn't come through.
Yeah, you wrote checks on money. You wrote checks on money that wasn't in the account.
Right.
Okay.
And to pay some bills, and it ended up not going through because of a system change. So, yeah it's my fault. But
it is. It is. And the thing is, you've just got to never do that again the rest of your life.
Right.
It's just too expensive and too embarrassing and everything else. And so it just creates too big a mess. And so you've got to just know what your balance is without having to check it every single day. And you should be able to run that, with your standard bank software. Most of them have it. And once you know what it is, then the trick, of course, is don't write against something you think is coming ever again. It's got to be in there before you write against it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, how do we get out of this mess? We get out of this mess by prioritizing the money that you do have. Did the system change? Did you end up getting the money out of it?
No, they're switching payroll. It was a payroll advance.
Yeah. And so they still haven't gotten you the money.
Right, and they're switching paychecks. Mm-hmm. They're going to a totally different system. Yep. So it may be July before that's even available.
Wow. What about the rest of your pay?
Well, the rest of my pay is biweekly. I bring home about between $1,250 and $1,300, and it's coming through normal.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to use that, and then when the rest of that other thing comes in, maybe in July, in a couple of weeks, hopefully you'll be able to use that to get completely squared around. So here's what we do: we prioritize from most important to least important thing in your whole world. And so here, I'll help you with that. The first thing you buy with the money you have is food.
Right.
Here, not eating out, just food. You feed your kids, you feed yourself, right? Whatever. Okay. Then the second thing you buy is lights and water. Was any of those two things what bounced?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So lights and water and food. Now we live to fight another day, right? How about your rent or your mortgage payment?
Actually, right now I'm living with my parents, so I don't have...
that's wonderful. Okay, that's wonderful. That's helpful. Okay, so basic necessities of survival are what we do first. It's food, shelter, clothing, transportation, and utilities. Okay? So you have a car payment?
Yes, sir.
Is it current?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so what type of stuff bounced?
Just normal bills that I have that I was actually trying to start getting paid off.
So like debts?
Small finance loan.
Okay.
Yeah, like refinance loans, things like that. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is, more than anything, this is embarrassing and stressful, but it doesn't really affect your life today. So what you do is just make a list of those things. I probably would say whatever the smallest one is, I'd just go ahead and get it cleaned up. The payment amount, not the balance. Okay, so list out these checks, these bounced items. How many did you say there were again?
About 6.
Okay, just list them out from smallest to largest item size. And then let's just work through, get the little one knocked off, get the next little one. And so every time we do that, what do they total up to?
Without the charges, they equal about, I would say, $800.
Okay. All right. So it's going to take a little while to get through them with your pay scale. All right. Good. So you just list them out smallest to largest like that. And the bank charges themselves, you're probably not going to get out of, but you can go in and sit down and talk to your branch manager and try to talk them into waiving them, because unless you've been a serial overdraft. If you're serial overdraft, they just love you because they stay open on you then. Okay, but if it's a one-time thing and they're like, okay, they might cut you some slack and refund. The actual companies that are trying to charge you overdraft charges too for bounce checks, some of them will waive them if you just call and cry a river. And I'd try that, because that's going to help you get through these that much faster and get them squared around. And just try to talk them out of it, in other words. As much as you can, but just push through and list them smallest to largest, or if one of them's really, really super important, it's not one of the items we touched on, but it's a big deal of some kind, then go ahead and move it and make it first. I don't care. But the good news is by the middle to the end of July, you'll be current again.
Right.
That's what, for August 1, Laura's in a different world. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and never again. And then jump on everydollar.com and download the budget and get yourself on a budget, so you know where all this money's coming from and where it's all going to. Everydollar.com is our budgeting software that's free to use. It's a free app for your phone, your iPhone, or your Android or whatever, and you're completely taken care of there. Jump on there and start building out your budget, and then let's begin to work those baby steps. Once you're current and once you're out of overdraft, then you begin to work your baby steps, and you lay out a game plan to work your way all the way through. And get yourself up into some emergency fund. You're debt free. You start building some wealth. You move out on your own. All those kinds of things, and that's where you're headed towards. And you'll be there shortly if you just be very, very intentional. The bad news is you're learning an expensive lesson. The good news is if you learned it, you'll never have to learn it again. I haven't bounced a check in 40 years. But I had to learn that. I just don't write checks if there's no money.